First of all, a huge welcome to Brenda and a thank you for your time and expertise in sharing with us your thoughts this morning. But Brenda is a fellow image consultant. She has over 30 years experience in the industry. She's an author and a coach, a mentor. She's amazing. Now, she's written many books. The first one, I understand, was for women over 40, and she's written several books since then. She's always felt that education was a very important part to keep up and to really learn from people that you trust and that really had a lot of industry experience. She said that education is a vital part of keeping up to date. She views the act of dressing as an extraordinary opportunity for self-expression, and I'm sure we all agree with that. But without any further ado, I just wanted to welcome Brenda and thank you very much. I'm going to hand it over to you right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I unmuted now?
You are unmuted, darling.
Hey. Well, it's wonderful to be here. I see faces I readily recognize and some people that I haven't met yet, but I hope at the end we feel like we've all been together forever, which with COVID-19 maybe we will. But I just want to say that two of my very favorite things are happening right now. I'm talking to fellow colleagues in this wonderful industry. And I think we can all agree that the work we do just makes us happy, proud. We sincerely help people realize dreams they didn't even know existed. And I so value the work that we do. And then, of course, the second thing that is one of my very favorite things in the whole world are clients. And I think every time we get a new client, it's an opportunity to fall in love with someone else all over again. And a lot of what I want to share with you today, and I don't know what your time frame is, Evelyn, because I'd love to give you guys time to just ask questions as well.
Unmute myself. Look, yes, we will have time. Anyone that's able to stay on the call, I'm sure they'll be very interested in asking questions as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think I want to start by saying something very bold, which is that your clients need you much more than you realize. And you may be getting into your own way of serving them as much as you could. And I learned this kind of trial and error. And I do have a long career. So I distinctly remember a time when I was seeing a client and I was on a shopping trip with that client. And I was walking to my car and I said, that was the most fun ever. How can I be having more fun with my clients? And honestly, I had my hand on the car door in the Nordstrom parking lot when two words fell from the sky. And those two words were, what's next? And this isn't how I thought about my clients. And I'm guessing that you guys are more savvy than I was at that time, but I'm going to share it anyway. And that was that I was filtering out and not giving my clients opportunities to work with me because I was making assumptions. I was assuming, oh gosh, they paid me the big bucks to do this shopping trip. They're not going to want to pay me big bucks for something next month, you know. I'll wait for them to call me. And so I would wait. But the words that fell down from heaven, what's next, made me realize, wow, I could be having more fun with these wonderful people, and maybe I could be serving them better. if I considered what's next for them, what would be the next thing that would really benefit them in their wardrobe, in their lives? What would be the next problem I could solve? And then I realized, okay, I'm going to start thinking that way. And what I'm going to share with you is really what came out of that moment of realizing maybe I was getting in my own way. And that if I just offered the opportunity for a client to work with me on something else, that they could always say no. And I think we really worry about being too salesy, like, oh, they're going to think we're just looking for the next buck or the next sale or the next appointment. And I had to wipe my brain clear from that. And the way I was able to do that was by saying to myself, they can always say no. They don't have to say yes. They could say no. So that changed my business forever. It changed my relationship with clients forever. And now I have these sweetheart clients that I adore and who adore me and adore the work we do together. So I've, worked on what are the secrets to this kind of client relationship. I've worked on it for a long time, and I've come up with a few solid tips that I can give you. Number one is I want to work with clients for their whole life. Now, that might mean that if somebody calls me up, and I don't give information over the website much at all. So we do have to have a conversation before we decide if this is a good fit. But once I've decided it's a good fit, then I know that I want her for a lifetime. And on a marketing level, we all know that marketing for what's next in that client relationship is so much easier than who's next. We can spend so much time on trying to market to new people, get new clients, constantly getting new clients. And that's fine if you love that. I like the stability of cash flow. And I like making deeper relationships and long-term relationships. So I always start out thinking about how can I honor this human being that I am about to work with? What can I be thinking about her as we begin? And there are 4 things that I believe every client wants. I think every client, and I work primarily with women, so I think men are a different story, but I'm going to give you my experience. I think every woman wants to feel special. And she may not feel that in a lot of areas in her life. She may be in a job that she's doing the work that she is, but she's not, terribly acknowledged for it. I want to give her that really close attention because she is special. I believe that everyone wants to be seen for who they are. And I think that if you all consider the relationships that you've had in your lives, whether they were 5-minute relationships with a perfect stranger, it can happen just in a little nugget like that, or if it's a long relationship, but you remember what it feels like to be seen for who you really are. Do I get a yes from that? Do you guys remember a moment like that? Yeah. Wow. Isn't it the most satisfying thing ever? Mm. So I believe she wants to be seen, and I'm going to do everything to create the environment for that magic to happen. And I think we can do it with every client we work with. I think that every woman wants to feel smart. And where she really wants to feel smart right now in hiring you is she wants to know, wow, I made a really smart decision here. This was the best decision I ever made. I've been thinking about it for months. This person's name kept popping up. Wow, am I happy I contacted her. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to share with you some ways that I use to help remind her how smart she is about that. And if I forget it for any reason, it's called the reassurance formula, the reassuring formula. So if you write that down and I haven't said anything about it, come back and ask me. And the other thing is, I think women really want to feel safe. And I'm just thinking about this right now. Don't you think a lot of women have felt judged in their lives? They've probably compared themselves to others. They've probably read magazine articles about figure flaws that they can relate to. They're not enough the way they are. And I think when we create a very non-judgmental, safe place, it's really rather intimate. And if she feels safe with us, she's going to want more of that experience. And this isn't to trick her. This is a win-win. You know, we're givers in this industry. We love giving people that space to be who they are and shine, shine, shine. So we want them to know that we're on their team. We're up for this. We want to help them do this. So the conditions, I call this like what needs to be present in a long-term relationship is it needs to be alive and growing. And what I mean by that is this relationship that you're having with this new client is not a one-night stand. You're looking at developing a long-term, respectful, loving relationship. It's not a one and done. You're in for the long haul. And that makes it alive and juicy. So I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm a little ahead of myself, but when we have clients that we have this alive, juicy, ongoing relationship with, we're thinking about them. And we're thinking about them and letting them know we've thought about them through demonstration beyond the appointment. So that might be, I do this often with some of my clients. I love books, so of course I'm perusing books, and I find things that either relate to their interest, or maybe it relates to fashion if they're into it that way, and I'll buy them a book and wrap it up and bring it to the next appointment. I'll find an article that I think they'll love, like during awards season, you know, red carpet award stuff. There are sometimes clients of ours that really love that, you know. And if I've come across an article about that sort of thing, I'll send it to them. Or we have a couple of national great fashion writers for newspapers, and often they write about something that I know a specific client will find that interesting. So I'll get them that article. I'll send them a card that says, you know, thinking about you, or I saw this art show and it reminded me of blah, blah, blah. We're letting them know, you know, it's alive. So how are we feeding that relationship? Okay, next, You know, and really, I think I've covered that. We're sending them energy and thoughts that come out of nowhere, you know, and isn't that fun? And there's a client of mine, I was just looking for the stack. She sent me 2 books today. And she's like my biggest teacher of what great things you can do for other people unexpectedly, you know? So, and there are some things like that people are just really talented at, that I bet you guys are talented at, that, you know, something that you do in an artful way that you share with them. I mean, one time I wrote poems, and I am not a poet, but I made homemade cards, and I thought about them. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered this. I thought about who they were, and I just wrote a few lines, and I dared to send one of these to an actual client who is a poet. And do you know, when I saw her, she said to me, "Brenda, nobody has ever sent me anything as lovely and dear as that." And then she said, "Well, maybe my husband." But I knew she was kind of saying that because she had to mention him. But I saw her, and I put it in writing in a way that would relate to her. So, you know, think about how you're going to keep this relationship going. Okay, this is really important. You are her professional advocate, not her buddy. When I started this business, I had 3 young children. I did not have time to have new best friends. I did not want my clients to be my new best friends. I did not want to socialize with them. I wanted to keep things professional and friendly. And I think it taught me a lot right from the start about what it's like to be professional. And the thing is that if we turn our clients into girlfriends, how long before everybody realizes that they don't pay their girlfriends to hang out and make outfits? And I think because we're in an industry that involves beauty and fashion and makeup and hair and, you know, I don't know all the things that you guys do, but, you know, that could be deemed, you know, girly stuff. And boy, I think especially as women, we have to keep our professional standards high. And somebody was reminding me, when I was in Sydney, I taught a class, a weekend course, I think a 2-day course. And I talked about being fiercely professional. And I think, hey, yeah, you were there. And I do still believe that very strongly. And I'm different I'm friendly, but I'm different with a client than I am with my buddy Joan. You know, I'm just different. So I think that needs to be right up front. And then I want to talk about how, for me, what I've felt is that part of her being seen is that I'm customizing the experience for her. So in my business, I always start with a style appointment, and we can talk about why I do that. And part of that graph is there to show you. But I feel that somebody's personal style is her happiest place. Once I've helped her define that, and I have quite an extensive, very personalized way. Not a quiz. Doesn't have categories. It's sort of this archaeological dig for what is important to the client. And I listen. I ask questions, and I listen, and I listen, and I listen. And I want to teach you this right now. This is one of my favorite tools for image consultants. Now, because I start with this style, Keep that in mind, and you can always change this for however it is you work. But I use what I call the 555 formula. And what the 555 formula is, when I'm there with her for her first appointment, I am thinking in my mind about 5 possible style words that I keep hearing over and over again that I'm going to be presenting to her at the end of our appointment. I'm listening for 5 objectives, because it's not just a style interview. When I teach this course, I call it Style Squared, because we're going to learn about style, but it's squared. It's much more than that. I'm going to learn much, much more than that. And what I mean by objectives, and I grabbed somebody's just to share. The objectives are the things that she has basically told me she wants to have solved for her. So one of the things that she might come up with during that initial appointment is, I have all this stuff in my closet and I don't know if I can use it now since my life has become a little more casual, or what I should do with it. So that might be one. She's got stacks of jeans and she doesn't know what really flatters her. So, fit and flatter, all that might come into it. She might have problems with work outfits. And she's really expressing that, when I get up to go to work in the morning, I just never feel like I'm dressed right. Her mother has passed away, and she's got all of this jewelry of her mother's. And she's wondering if there's any of it that she could pull out and use right now. And, if any of you guys have done this with your clients, some of it applies and works and some of it absolutely won't. But if this is a concern for her, and I want to tell you another. If this is a concern for her, I'm listening, because I'm not going in with a plan of, I'm going to help her with her workout, her work clothes, her casual outfits on the weekend, things for her social life. She's telling me what the important things are. And I had one client say to me, where I feel the most insecure? On the weekends when I go see my grandkids play on the soccer field, or I don't know what sports you guys have that you're thinking about right now, but just looking like she fit in on the sidelines of her grandkids' games was going to make her really happy. Okay, note, that's a problem I want to solve for her because it's pressing. And I would guess that almost all of us on this call right now wouldn't guess that that could be somebody's pressing problem. Agree? Yeah. So I'm listening. So the other 5, so we've talked about 5 style words, 5 objectives, and the next 5 would be 5 appointments. I'm already thinking 5 appointments down the line of what I can do to solve her issues. So I might say, you know what, today is focused completely on style and getting your style words and figuring out that look for you. But if you'd like to work on your wardrobe and see what works for now going forward and what you need to let go of based on your previous work life, would that be something you'd like to do? Would you like my help on that? It's always a question, ladies, always a question. And then they can say, what are the options? Yes or no. I don't care, I'm not invested. But that's her opportunity to say, you know what, that would be such a relief. When she talks about her jewelry, I might say, you know what, we could schedule a short appointment and let's just focus on jewelry. I'm really big on mini appointments. Now, they may still take 2 hours, but oh, Lord, when I think of what I did at the beginning, where I had a 3-hour or 4-hour appointment with someone and I didn't have boundaries around it. I remember getting to the end of a closet appointment when somebody said, this client said, you know, what I really wanted to get to were these containers underneath my bed that were filled with clothes that were probably 5, 10, 15 years old that she'd really wanted to get handled. And I had just spent all this time working with the stuff that was visible. And here I thought, oh no, do I have to get that accomplished too? So now I know that I don't have to do everything in one appointment. Hey, from the start, I'm spreading things out into 5 appointments. And that's giving me breathing space. It's giving her breathing space, breathing room. And it's an opportunity for me to give her full attention on that one thing. And you know what? It's just better for my mental health and better for her mental health when we just solve a big problem and then we can go on to the next. So that's the 5-5-5. This is something that I feel very strongly about too, and it kind of falls under professionalism. And you know how I've talked about relationships, that we want, you know, this is a long term, it's not a one-night stand. Well, I think, I'm going to assume, and I have some basis to back me up on this. I think she wants to be the one and only. She wants that, you know, I have made the mistake at times to bring up maybe an experience with a different client of, oh, you know, I worked with somebody and we did da-da-da-da-da. And I can just see this look on her face. She doesn't want me to talk about anybody else but her. I don't bring in my experiences of what's going on personally with me. For that amount of time, she is my one and only. And it's such a relief to work like that. And I think we can work like that when we're not busy in our heads trying to solve every single problem in one appointment. Should I stop here and ask for any questions before I go on?
Brenda, I think we need to hear everything that you've got to share with us. I do know there's one question up there that can wait. That was from Janie about prices on website. Okay. I think what we need to do is to hear what you've got to give us.
I'll keep going.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. By working like this, I feel like no project is unimportant. And I want to give this example. It's so funny to me. I have a client who, she just recently retired, but she was a Supreme Court justice for California, which is way up there in the Justice Department of the state, okay? And we were in the dressing room together, and we were about to try some things on, and I looked at her and I said, Kay, when was the last time you were fitted for a bra? And she said, maybe when I was 18. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, would you mind, and again, I'm always asking permission. Would you mind if I called in a bra fitter right now and we got you into a great bra? I'd love it. So ask for permission, get the okay. So somebody I knew very well in that department came into the room, and we didn't have to leave the dressing room at all. Came in, fitted her for the bra. And when the salesperson left, my client said to me, oh my gosh, what kind of life could I have had if I was in the right bra all this time? And here's this quite prim and proper person in the state of California, and I just burst out laughing like, what would that have looked like? You know, we just have fun with it. But anyway, when you are taking your time, you can be more thorough with a client. So that is another plus to thinking about having a client for life. Okay, so I mentioned how I'm always asking questions, asking for their permission. And I recommend that you ask for permission to get the go-ahead to do the next thing in 9 words or less. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples. Like, you know, can't we all just go on and on and on because we're afraid to ask them outright, you know? So here, this of course needs a little fill in the blank, but what would it be, or how would it be if we tackled that in our next appointment? Whatever that was, fill in the blank. Sometimes I'll be working on a plan for her and I'll say, how does that sound? And she can say, that sounds great. Okay. These are just little variations, but I'm just giving you a list of phrases that can start this conversation. Let's see, how does that sound? Would it be okay if, did I say this one already?
No.
I feel like I used it in an example, but anyway, would it be okay if we plan a separate appointment to go shoe shopping? Because I've discovered, oh, wow, you know, this is a really big issue for her. I just want to focus on only that because I know it's going to resolve so many things in her wardrobe. Okay, so would it be okay if we made a separate appointment to do shoe shopping? Yes, I'd love that. Okay. As she's saying different things that would be important for her to accomplish that are meaningful to her, I might say, can we put that on our list? This would be a list of things we're going to do at another date. Could we put that on a list? Our list. When she says something about something that doesn't work on her body, or she can't wear stripes, or she'll never wear knits, or, you know, doesn't every woman have a list of 25 things that they can never ever do? So if I'm looking at her and I know that what she's telling me is a story and not really accurate, based on my professional expertise, I will say to her, can I challenge you on this? And it's an invitation for her to let me give her some input into something she's dead sure she's right about. But can you imagine saying that? Can I challenge you on that? It's a whole lot more effective than, oh, that's not true. You could wear that. I guess my approach is always like erring on the softer side, the relationship side. So I don't operate in a blunt way like that. I mean, some clients you can, and that's just part of your relationship. But mostly I want her permission on every single thing. So when she's got something on her body, I read body language all the time. And before I even say something like, oh, I love this on you, I might ask her, how does that feel to you? How does that feel? And get her to be part of that process. I think when she's engaged and you're engaged and it's not a black and white situation, that it's more meaningful. She's listening, she's participating. Oh, this is a big one. Well, let me give you this other one first. Another way of saying, can I challenge you on that, is can I tell you how it looks through my eyes? And every woman, every precious woman is so sure about something, and it's always a fault, you know. Oh, her bum does this, or her thighs are that, or breasts are this, and on it goes. So when I say, can I tell you how it looks through my eyes? I've just seen her for the first time, or maybe this is our first time in the dressing room. So I don't have the baggage that she has. So again, it's like an invitation. Would you like to see how it looks on my side over here? And it often can, excuse me, it often can shift that moment. And she's suddenly curious. Yes, she would like to see how I see it. This tickle may go on for a little bit, so bear with me. So I want to talk about this one that I skipped over. Tell me what you'd like to accomplish. And at the beginning of every client appointment, on the first one I've already made it clear what we're going to accomplish. We're going to get her style words and just focus on that part. Hang on one second. Oh, that's worse. I usually do this right in front of my window, but there was so much sun coming in that I moved. I hope the lighting is still okay. So at the beginning of an appointment, even though we have a plan for what we're in that store to do, or what we're doing there in the closet that day, something may have changed. So I start every appointment with, what would you most like to accomplish today? That is, priceless, because it saves us from the situation where 3 hours later she said, you know, I really need an outfit to go to this high school reunion. I really need an outfit to go to my ex-husband's where he's going to be, you know. I want to know what's pressing right now at the beginning of this appointment. Okay. So it's sort of like creating the vision. You're creating a vision of how that appointment is going to shape up. It frees you to really focus on those problems that she most wants solved. And especially if something's come up between the time you made the appointment and the actual appointment. She knows that you are on her side, you are her advocate, and you are going to take care of business. If we're in the closet, you know, by the end of our day together, here in your closet, what would you most want to have accomplished today? Now, in the back of my mind, I know there's going to be a tomorrow and a tomorrow and a tomorrow and a tomorrow after that, because I've already planned on her being my client for life. So we're just focusing on today. Now, I'm going to jump a little forward. Let's pretend we're now near the end of that appointment. I book by specific hours. That's just kind of how it's worked out later in my career. They like having a set amount of time they know they're creating in their schedule, and I do too. You know, when we're with our clients, we're on. We're focused. We're on. Every neuron is firing. And so I need to pace myself a little bit, and I need to pace this with her. So I don't wait till the last minute to wrap things up. I'm checking my watch. I can tell that in 15 minutes or so, we'll be near the end of time. And so I start wrapping things up, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to acknowledge what we got accomplished today. Here's where I'm going to use that reassuring formula. I might say, I am so glad we went through your accessories today. It always starts with, I'm so glad, or whatever would work in your, for you. But I'm so glad we went through all of your accessories. We weeded out the things that aren't working for you now. We created some order. Now it's going to be so easy to get dressed. So there's an I'm so glad and a now, basically as a result of doing this, this is what's going to happen in life. It's going to be so much easier. I'm so glad we made outfits for those upcoming events. Now you don't have to think about it at all. Maybe I'm there that day to put a trip wardrobe together. I'm so glad we took this time 2 weeks before your trip to get all your outfits ready so you don't have to think about it. Can you see that rhythm?
Yeah.
And in that rhythm, she's again comes back to her being so smart for having hired you to fix those problems. And what I'm also doing is making that next appointment. If I haven't already, I am saying, okay, these were the things on your list that the other things that you wanted to tackle. Which one of these things would you most like to focus on next time? So there's that next time. Do you want to get out your calendar? Let's make that appointment. I'm guiding her to the next step. I'm making it easy. She doesn't have to think real hard. It's, oh yeah, of course, let me get my calendar. How's about Thursday? So it helps me manage my own calendar because, and this is something I have said often to clients, I'd rather make appointments with you and have them in the books, and we can cancel them if need be, but I don't want to have you call me and me not have time. So let's plan ahead so there's always space for you. She's my one and only. I want her to know that she's top of my mind. So as a result of taking care of her in this way, it's going to be pretty easy for you to be top of her mind when she's with her girlfriends and someone says, oh my gosh, I have this thing coming up. I have no idea what to do. I work with somebody and she might be able to help you. I mean, it's an easy, and some clients are natural networkers. They want to tell every one of their friends about you. And I had the gift of this fairly early in my career. And one of the things I helped this client do was get a wedding dress. And she was getting married at a destination wedding. There were 40 guests. 11 of them were my clients. And I was one of the guests as well. But she was one of those people that just spread the word. Now, there are going to be other clients who want to keep you as their best secret. And that's fine too, especially if you're creating opportunities to see her on a regular basis. So I want to share a little bit about the MMB program, which is short for Monthly Marketing Bundle. That one of the ways that your clients know that you're in business and you're available if they want to reach out. And this has happened amazingly just this last week. I offered a class based on my style appointment, and I offered it to kind of lay people. I've always taught this to professionals, this program, because I've always felt that professional image consultants could be making more money and that their businesses could thrive more than they are if they just practice some of these client communication skills, which all starts with that first appointment. But anyway, I kind of carved some things away and built some things in, and I created this course. And do you know what? I heard from clients that I hadn't heard from for a while. I have several that are up here that I see almost monthly. And then, we probably have a batch of clients that we help, but then they drift away. And I always feel like, that's okay. That's what's working for them right now. But anyway, they've signed up for this class. And it's like, part of it for me is having newsletters that go out I try on a regular basis. I have an active blog. I'm active on social media. And all of those things require content. And because I am a writer and wrote books and happily write my blog and do all those things, one of the ways that I felt I could help image consultants was to do the writing for them. So they could get content in their email box every month. So it arrives on the 15th of every month. There's tip sheet, there's a article idea, or an article, and there's a speech outline or a workshop outline or something that you can use for Facebook Live or webinars. That arrives every month so that you don't have to think. And it's amazing. I have members who just, boom, automatically 3 days later, that's the video they put up because they don't have to think of the content. And then we also have a group that, a call like this on Zoom once a month to talk about strategies for marketing and how you could use the material, et cetera, et cetera. Well, when COVID-19 happened and we were in isolation, we've doubled those calls. And I think we're really starting something new within that group. And that's kind of a roll up your sleeves, let's get to work, brainstorming how to work our business, maybe get into a little side thing that other people in the group have already done and are great at and could help people that are just new to the idea. So anyway, it's not, one of the sessions is really about how are you going to market this material, going over the material. And now a new one is how can we help each other in our businesses? So that's the program. It's, you can pay for it for a year, or you can pay for it monthly or 4 times a year, whatever you want to. But if that's something of interest, certainly send me an email and we can chit chat about that. But in closing this portion, I do think it's so important that you keep your face, and I know many of you are so good at this already, but that you keep your name in front of people. And a client that was at the latest MMB retreat, she's a client of mine, and we did a fashion show. She's definitely over 60. She's actually around 75. But we did a fashion show about how I work and how I style, because those are probably my big loves, style and styling. And so anyway, she was the live model, and we had 8 to 10 different outfits on her. But when I traced back where she came from, I was writing for a newspaper. She followed my article in that monthly newspaper. And then she got on my email list. Your email list is your most important thing ever, 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 ever. Grow your email list. And you know what? One day she emailed me and said, I really could use some help. And I'd probably been in her life already, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years through my newsletter. And when the time was right, she was there. I couldn't have a more ideal client ever. So when I get these new clients and I keep them for life, when I look at my numbers at the end of the year, I have $10,000 that comes from one client. I have $9,000 that came from another client, in there as it adds up for the whole year. It doesn't take a lot of clients that you see often to be your bread and butter, to be your cash flow that you can count on. So when we're out and about, you can be doing all this now. You can be creating the content and getting your face out there. And, right now the content that I've been writing has been more, okay, you're at home, here are some things you can do. And the material I write, then, the image consultants that are in the program just use it as their own. It's never comes back to Brenda Kinsel or being authored by Brenda Kinsel. They tweak it and use it however they want to. So by being their friend from afar, whether it's social media or through your newsletters, you're always there. You're always in their mind. And then once they call you up, you start thinking right from the start, how is she going to be my cherished client for life? The chart I sent you that's on the Facebook, that's really my work in a nutshell. At the center is style, style, style. That's their happy place. And then all those prongs that come after, those are all different reasons that I could be in their closet for a closet visit or shopping on a shopping trip. And it's all customized for that client. Those things are just there to give you ideas of all the different kinds of things you can do. Okay.
Brenda, we
Yes.
have some questions. That was amazing, actually. I was surprised that there were not questions coming up all the time, but I think people were so busy listening to you, they didn't even have time to write in a question in the chat. So big clap for you. You're amazing. You really are. And there's always something I pick up from you, always, without exception. So it's incredible. There are some questions in the chat.
Okay. Will you just read them to me so I don't have to flip back and forth?
Yeah, good idea. Well, one of the first one was from Janie, and you don't have prices on your website.
I do not. And the reason is I want that conversation. I want to know from the start if she's a fit and if she has problems I can solve.
Yeah, okay.
Once that relationship has already begun in a 30-minute conversation, then when it comes to price, and believe me, the first question she'll ask is, how much do you charge? Isn't it the first question everybody gets asked? How much do you charge? And how I handle that is by getting her permission. I say, I'd love to tell you how I work and how I charge. Do you mind if I ask you some questions first? I get her permission to ask her questions, and then I'm finding out where all the problems are. And when I can say, I can help you with that. I can help you solve that. I can help you da-da-da. Then my price, which might have scared her off if I said it right away, she'll do anything to hire me. The price becomes the last little piece of the decision making, where at the beginning of the conversation, it becomes the most important thing about about it. So that's why I've done that. And I know there are pros and cons about this. I won't get into it more, but that's the reason.
Well, that makes sense too. And I agree. I don't like prices on my website. I don't have them there for that very reason. You just got to have that conversation.
Yes.
This question was for me. I'm jumping in front of everybody now.
Okay.
How long would a typical session? What do you reduce a session to? Is it some 2 hours or?
No, the first appointment that I do is the style interview. And then I promise her that I'm going to go into her closet after we've got her style recipe. I'm going to go in her closet and I'm going to put that look together. I decided years back that the most important thing I could do at that point was to show her how that looks in clothes. And most often they have the ingredients. They just haven't had anybody put it together for them like that. So that's my only promise. I will tell them, we're not going to clean out your closet. We're not going to da-da-da-da-da. We're just focusing on style. That's my start point with every single client. I don't make any exceptions for that. And so what I ask of them at that first appointment is 4 hours.
Yes.
So I say outright, it'll be 4 hours. I ask for a deposit for the first hour. That's non-refundable. And they pay the balance of it at the end of that appointment. And do you know what? After that initial appointment, that seems to be our working time frame, always 4 hours.
Yeah.
So unless it really is a small, specific, let's just go do bathing suits. Let's go shop for a bathing suit capsule. Unless it's something like that, if I'm spending time in her closet, it's usually 4 hours every time. And that lets me do more specific things. There may be seasonal things to do. There may be packing for trips. There may be just purging. There may be going through the jewelry, but we can do more. It just fills that time. It just seems to automatically do that.
So may I ask a quick question about that?
Yes.
Brenda, okay, so thank you. First of all, my name is Alice.
Yes.
I really appreciate you today. You are such a light. I could just love it. So thank you. But you had mentioned your first appointment style interview. You're there for 4 hours. Do you take the fee beforehand, the deposit beforehand, and then before you arrive, or when you arrive, you get the first? You get it before the appointment, correct?
Yeah, I get it before the appointment.
And do they pay via like Venmo or PayPal or credit card
or a check? We still write checks. They can send it to me in the mail, or it can be Venmo, or it could be anything, PayPal, whatever you use. But how I talk about that is that secures the appointment date. Sure. The appointment is in ink once I receive that deposit. And I started doing it that way because somebody might get an idea of, oh, this is a great thing to do. Oh yeah, I want to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 weeks later they say, no, I don't want to do it. And I've held that time. So it's part of getting a commitment from them and really having things be serious and on plan right from the start.
That's wonderful. And in that style interview, you just go through those 555. By the way, Brenda, I don't know if you've ever looked up what the angel numbers mean for 555, but I'll send you an email on what that means if you'd like to.
Okay.
But I was wondering. Oh, go ahead.
No, in that style appointment, I've got a whole list of interview questions. Like I say, when I teach this, and I call it Style Squared, it's to get the style words, but it's also really to find out where things get stuck for her. What's her experience like shopping? I mean, I have all kinds of basic interview questions. I don't send her ahead of time. I do send her some homework, but it's not at all complicated. I'm not a fan of those huge, long intake things. I learn more from being right in front of my client. And I don't even want to see the homework until I meet her. Because otherwise I'm shifting in my brain. Oh, wait, but she said this in her homework and I'm looking at her and it doesn't make sense. And so I stopped all that.
So you don't even ask like for a client profile ahead of time with sizing
No.
and everything? You capture it all in that style appointment.
Everything starts hands-on. Hands-on. Yeah.
I have another question here. Somebody wanted to know if you share the to-do list. That was from Jeanette.
Share the to-do list.
Yes, I'm not sure what that was, to share the to-do list with a client.
Oh, you know, I always have that stuff in my notes, and you know what? I don't, because we're already a team.
Yeah.
I'm the coach, and I'm making the plans, and she just has to show up.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
And you know, again, that changed. Oh my gosh, that totally changed mid-career, because you know, oh, here's a shopping list. Here's everything you need to go buy it. No. I'm assuming as a long-term client, we're doing this together.
Yeah. Oh, very good. I love that idea. Absolutely. And I found that I do that mostly, but then sometimes I forget, you know?
Yeah. And the 555 is really my internal process. I'm not saying to her, oh, here are your 5 objectives. Oh, here are the 5 next appointments. That's really for me. It helps me to keep an open mind about what's possible.
Mm-hmm. There was actually Ginger suggested you tell us about, because I know about your MMB group, but tell everybody about your retreat for that group.
Oh, so I had a daydream one day in October, sitting in my living room over there, that wouldn't it be great if the MMB members could come to Sonoma where I live and we could have a retreat. And I was with a couple of people who were in the group and they said, well, let's do it. And I'm like, what? And of course, I couldn't do it alone. I love creating the educational content and the speakers and what the topics are. Love all that part. All the logistics is handled by other people within the group. This is not a for-profit thing. We keep all the expenses as low as possible. So everybody could come to Sonoma, spend a few days in a lovely, lovely resort and go home feeling nourished. And so we've done that 3 times now. We've usually done it every other year when we started. And at this last one in February, there was a lot of requests for, when are we doing this next year? Let's do this next year. We're giving it some thought.
Oh, so you're going to give it some thought for next year?
Oh, yes, of course we will. It was so great. There's nothing more nourishing than being with your people and sharing how you work and learning from each other. And this is such a supportive, caring group that it's like being with your best friends.
And absolutely true.
3 days and 4 nights.
It's true. I've met the most amazing people at your retreat. They've become friends. I'm hoping Bernie finds herself over here in Australia this year.
Yes.
Stay with us, and they're lifelong friends. I think the most wonderful girlfriends that I have made are in our industry.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There was something else here that came up here as well. So your newsletters go out to your clients.
Yes.
But your MMB marketing strategies, that's for the group.
Exclusive, only the group, and they use the materials as their own.
That's right. So Janie, I think you got that. So it's the articles for the group, but the newsletters go out to the clients.
Articles, tip sheets, and people can just use them however they want to. It could be several, a month's worth of Facebook posts on a theme. If I write something and I've got 20 tips for whatever it is, each one of those tips could really be a Facebook Live presentation even. So people are really creative about how they use the material.
So now this is a question from Anne Bodica. If you haven't seen a client for a while, do you reach out? How do you reach out to them? How do you go about that?
Hello.
There you go, Anne. You've got it in one.
That really old-fashioned thing. I even have one right here, really old-fashioned.
Love it.
I call them. Maybe I saw something that made me think of them. Maybe they just came into my mind. How are you? How's it going? How did the graduation go? Whatever. I keep a lot of notes in a file for a client. And I also keep, gosh, is that handy? I keep like a client journal thing where at the end of every appointment, I write down what we did, what needs to be done next. And I have that with me at all times. So it's, again, I'm really keeping tabs. I'm really keeping notes on their lives, their children's names, their everything.
Yeah. Yes.
Dogs' names.
You've got to really, because it's definitely a soft approach when you go to ring them next time. You're up to date with what's happening. And
yes, exactly.
How old's that grandchild of yours now? He must be about 3. And they think,
yes,
it's a good memory.
Yes, exactly.
Is that journal alphabetized, or is it just one for each client, or how do you work that?
Is what else? Oh no, let me just see if I've got it right here. Okay, here's my journal. What it is after each appointment, let's see if I got something. Okay, so you can't read my notes. They're really bad writing, but I'm writing down like a thing happened in an appointment just really before the COVID thing happened, where this client who has beautiful, beautiful clothes said, and I put it down in quotes, I want to be comfortable, but I still want to look good. We created outfits that follow that formula to a T. Comfort, but look good. And my first newsletter that went out during the COVID time, she emailed me back and said, I am so glad we did those outfits because that's what I'm living in right now. So I would make notes about what we were going to do next or where we left off. If we were doing some work in the closet, I might say, okay, next time we're going to focus on this, this, and this. So that when I arrive, I can say, okay, I have in my notes that we're going to focus on this, this, and this. Is there something else you'd like to do? Or should we start on something else first? Or should we just continue where we were? Mm-hmm. But it helps me so much to have a journal.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Now, there's one question from Jane Lidlow. She wanted to know how many clients you would see in a day, but if your average appointment is one.
I'm planning, because I do a lot of writing and because I do my blog and everything, I love having time in the morning to work on those writing projects or work on the MMB, pieces of content, and then go see a client and spend 4 hours with her. That's my perfect day.
Right. There you go, Jane.
So I'm hardly ever piggybacking. If I am, I'm doing maybe 2 appointments, one that's 2 or 3 hours, going to be 2 or 3 hours, and one that's going to be just a couple. But I don't want to make myself crazy. No. And I want to have really good, proper energy for each client.
Yeah, no, that's really smart too, because you're giving your all, so you've got to be on top of it. You cannot go in to see a client feeling a little bit lackluster at all.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Somebody's
Fiercely professional. That's how I can be fiercely professional.
Yeah, I like that. Fiercely professional. Okay. So Emma has asked a question. Do you do color analysis?
I used to, and now I will have somebody else do that part.
Okay, right. There's another question you asked, Emma. What was that in relation to on the first appointment? You go into her closet at that appointment, on the first appointment.
Only after I've been sitting in her living room or her kitchen and we've done the interview.
Yes.
And that's because I don't want to be anywhere near her clothes. I don't want any influence whatsoever, because I create that beautiful vision and I get her permission that we're going to create looks based on those style words.
Yeah.
And then I may get to her closet and she opens her closet door and it's just bleak or dreadful. And if I had seen that ahead of time, I couldn't have been clear-minded to create this vision.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's great, because yeah, in the
Can I just jump in there? There's a couple of questions there that people are asking Brenda about the reassurance formula.
Yes. Okay. Would somebody want to give me, just give me a topic of something that got accomplished in an appointment? Or Suzanne, you do that for me.
Oh, okay, unmute myself again. Something I might have accomplished in an appointment. I might have bought an outfit for the client, might have got the client an outfit to go to a school graduation of their child.
Okay. I am so glad we set this time aside to get this outfit put together for your son's graduation. It's going to be so great to be in that audience and see him and know how great you feel yourself and how proud you are of him. You know, it's like, I'm so glad you/we took the time to accomplish this, because now, you know, that's really your segue, is because now you don't have to worry about that. Or now you can be totally confident that all the clothes in your, all the shirts in your closet, shirts or tops, fit you because we went through them all and you tried them on. I'm so glad you tried those on. I would never have had any idea that so many of these things didn't fit. Now with those out of the closet, you can really utilize what you have. So it's saying what was accomplished and why.
That's right. Yeah, great. Now, okay, we've got, let me see. Okay, this was to everybody from Tanya. How do I approach a client when they say they only want a wardrobe and shopping and prefer not to do style and color consultation? They just want you to go into the wardrobe and then take them shopping. So
I would, for me, because I want a client for life, I don't work that way. So I will say, I totally understand. The reason I start with style is because it saves so much money and time in shopping and working your closet. Because once I know your style, we're eliminating 95% of what's in the store. And if I haven't done that with you first, we might be stumbling around and it would take longer. But if you'd rather, you could call a store that has a professional service. I give them options. You know, they just need to know that that's not how I work. Oh my gosh, when I've made the mistake of saying yes to something like that, I have cursed my decision all into the night. That just doesn't work for me.
And it really doesn't work for, Tanya, when you take a client shopping, if say she wants to do shopping only, you still have to go through and find out what her objectives are, which is what you do, and also find out her, her style words, which you do with her style preference questionnaire. It's like a questionnaire. And also her lifestyle. You've got to find out, you know, the lifestyle needs in her wardrobe. So they're the upfront things, whether you're doing wardrobe or whether you're doing not color so much. Colors are almost like another entity, but wardrobe, shopping, and of course, so you have to do that front end, you know, discovery. It's important.
Yes.
Oh yeah, great. So I'm just looking here.
And can I just jump in there too? I do exactly what Brenda does too, Tanya, but I make a big point of saying, I'm really sorry. Exactly what Brenda said, that's not how I work, because I found in the past with my clients, they don't get the best results. So people that I have as clients, I want them to get a really good result. But I understand that it might be a budgetary thing or whatever your situation is, but I can give you names of other image consultants that might be happy to take that on board and do that for you. And I tell you, about 80% of them turn around and go, no, that's perfectly fine. No, I will do it your way.
You know,
and the 20% that don't, they're not my client anyway. And I do give them names of other image consultants, and I'm happy for them to go there. More than happy for them to go there.
It can feel painful sometimes to say no to business, but oh my gosh, if you leave that slot open for the right clients, you're going to be saying yes to the people you want to work with all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do they ever get concerned though that for the style it's going to be 4 hours? Because I guess obviously you sit down and you address all of, you know, trying to uncover their style, but then you go into their accessories and you look at a couple of different outfits. That in itself takes up 4 hours.
You know, in my mind, I'm going to spend at least an hour and a half, most likely an hour and a half in their closet. I mean, in doing the style part. Then I'm going to go upstairs to their closet and wow, you know, they may open this happened one time. They opened the door and one of her key things that she wanted reflected in her style was pretty. She was ready to be pretty. Her mother, who had mental illness, was the only person allowed to be pretty in that family. And when her mother passed away, it was her turn. And she wanted to be pretty. And when I opened up the closet door and saw what was inside and saw there was not a stitch of pretty in there ever in anything, I cut that appointment short. And I said, you know what? You're not going to be served right now with me trying to put a look together in here. Let's cut this short and we'll make that shopping trip right away. And that's what we did. And so, you know, if there's not enough to do while you're in the closet, feel free to say, hey, you know, let's change our plan. Remember, she's special. You're customizing the experience. And what a way to customize by saying, hey, I want to save you some money. Let's go shopping instead.
I see. So the style part is actually an outfit building session, or you're just showing them how to put things together with the accessories they have.
No, after we've done, let's take accessories out of it for a minute. After we've done that hour and a half or so, then I'm in the closet and I'm trying to put that look together. So if her look was modern, sophisticated, easy, let's say, then I'm going to create 3, 4, 5, 6 outfits, maybe, if that's there to do. Head to toe, she's putting everything on. I'm tweaking everything, and then I'm recording that outfit. So she has every single detail of that outfit written down in a chart. I call it a wardrobe chart. And she never has to think about that outfit again. So we do as much as we can in that appointment. But we're always making plans for the what's next. Does that make sense? Does that clarify that? So of course
absolutely clarified perfectly. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for keeping on with that question, because I really wanted to
I know. I was kind of pushing you on that. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, Brenda, look, I knew this would happen, that we just, there's not enough time to hear all your wonderful insights and ideas and suggestions. I think it's just been amazing. And I just want to recap on some of those things that really resonated with me. I did love the metaphor of having this long-term relationship. It's not just a, you know, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Sorry, but that is just, you know, an Australian.
No, exactly.
I did love especially the idea of having a client just feel like you want to give her close attention so that she can feel like she's seen. I love that. So that then, you know, you're letting her know that she's smart, whether she's come to you or, you know, actually building her up, and also making her feel safe so that she can shine, shine, shine. I love that. So I love alliteration. That was just perfect there. Yes, this long-term, respectful, loving relationship. It's nice to have in your mind when you're starting to work with a client.
Isn't it though? Yes.
Yeah. And I just feel that, you know, it's good to be reminded too, to just send your clients those little articles or a book, or, you know, I love your idea of a poem. I am no poet, but anyway, but I think you're amazing to send a poet a poem. I thought that was very great. And look, this is something we must always remember, and you mentioned it. You're your client's trusted advisor. You are her advocate and not a buddy. And I have made that mistake in the past, you know, where they become buddies, and all of a sudden I feel funny about charging them, you know. So,
I know.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I love it. I have clients tell me, you have changed my life. And, you know, I can't tell you how, fulfilling that is as an image consultant, just how beautiful that is, you know, that you feel like you've really made a huge impact on someone's life. But your reference to, you know, an archaeological dig, you know, in other words, keeping your ears open, that was a really great point. And I love the 555 formula. That is perfect. So look, look, I can go on and on and on about everything that I just loved about this, and I know everybody else would have just so appreciated your time as well. It is going to be available. It'll be uploaded onto the Image Consultant United group, so it will be. There will be a YouTube link to go over to listen to you again, and I recommend everybody just revisit you time and again, you know, every few months even, just to get that.
Yeah. I've often had students of mine say, I wish there was a recording of all those sayings of yours and how you, because I just want to have those in my head when I go to see a client. But practice. And I just want to say, you guys are the best, and you can invite me back anytime to talk about anything if we want to.
Great. I was going to ask you, Brenda, would you be willing to come back, because we've enjoyed you so much.
Sure.
And Cheeky Bernie, I love her.
Oh, what did she say?
Roses are red, violets are blue. I love being the one to pick outfits for you.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Well, I think we're going to, unless there's another question, but look, I think we'll wrap up for now. If there are other questions that come in, please feel free to email or message up on that group the questions, and perhaps Brenda, you would then be able to answer anything else that comes through after this.
And I will say, I'm starting this class, and I've filled up one class in 4 hours. I just opened it this morning and filled a second class in 2 hours. So I will be starting that. So if you're not getting my attention immediately, my apologies ahead of time, but please, please, please have me back. And I'm happy to answer everything on a Zoom call as well.
Brenda, thank you so much.
Oh, you lovely people. Thank you. Thank you.
I will be seeing you at the next retreat.
Oh, good. Okay.
All the best, everybody. I hope you have a good day. I think Brenda deserves a big clap. Thank you, Brenda.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.